I don't want to paint a broad brush on a couple guys that have made some mistakes, and we all make mistakes. Everyone in this room. If we lived in a glass house, we would probably be ashamed of some of the things we've said or done in our lifetime. When you're an athlete, you're a person of celebrity, you're in the news. Everything you do is going to be written about or talked about. So you have to live a life of integrity. When your words and your life match up, I think that's very important. Yes, sir.
Coach, do you think a lot of our problems nowadays with sports and outside of sports is the breakdown, not offending anybody, the breakdown of a family unit?
That helps, obviously. That's very difficult when people come from a single-family home. I've always said this, children can't choose their parents, last time I checked. That's one thing I do know. They cannot choose their parents, and sometimes cannot choose the situations they're in. But eventually, as they grow older, they have the ability to get out of that situation. But a lot of, I've always said this, character like good soup's made at home. And when you can do it at home, you have a better chance of your child making better decisions. And in the league, we have a lot of great athletes who come from single-family homes and do a great job. And there's some that fall into the cracks. And the problem we have is that we're celebrities. We're looked at with a high standard. Some of these guys are looked at as heroes. You want to worship them. I've always said your role model should be your parents. It should be athletes. Because what we see on TV, we really don't know who they are. We know a little bit about them, but we really don't know who they are. And I think sometimes we worship jerseys, we worship athletes, when we really don't have the whole facts. And we should say, well, they're heroes, but they shouldn't be our role models. I think our family should be our role models. The church should be our role models. Those are the things that we can grab onto. Those are the things that are consistent, that we can believe in.
We've seen suspensions from Bill Simmons and Stephen A. Smith for different things they said on ESPN. Does ESPN have a code or
ethics? Yes.
Not a code of ethics, but something that if you take a certain opinion on something that you're not allowed to take, you can't criticize the NFL, those types of things?
Well, I don't know about you can't criticize the NFL. You ever heard me talk?
Of course I have.
I tell the truth. No, it's not that you can't criticize. It's just that certain things that you say that's not about the NFL. It's just about politically being correct. That's about the most important thing. I think the guys you talk about that have been suspended, they've said some things probably out of character where ESPN feels like they don't want that to represent who they are. So you can have your own opinion. I think that this is why we're analysts. I mean, they pay us for our opinions, for what we see and how we look at it and view it. So I just think those incidents, when you look back at them and rewind the tape, it's probably something they said that didn't fit well with ESPN. But it's never about, they never tell you what to say. I've never heard a producer say, Coach, you need to say this. All they tell me is red light's on. When the red light comes on, I get to talk. Real simple, not that hard.
The rules seem to keep changing every year as far as contact. Now, when you played, not that long ago, you could probably hit and do things that you wouldn't be allowed to do today. Was that just overdue, or are the rules going a little bit too far, or or do you need all that extra protection?
Well, they're trying to make the game more safer for players, and it starts with our league because it trickles down to high schools and college. I think really ESPN has a lot to do with players starting to hit with their helmet because it was a highlight, and that's not the proper way to tackle. Your head should never be involved in tackling. It was always breastplate. I was taught that way. I taught players that way. But I think the safety of players, obviously, concussion situation that the league has run into, and also, when you look at it, the way the game is played, it's a game of competitive violence within the framework of the rules. And most players do not have long careers. I've always said when you're a football player, it's an opportunity, not a career. Life expectancy is about 3.5 years. The roster changes over 25% of the time. So it's a short window. And I think they're trying, the game is a more wide open game. So contact is going to be a little bit more harder now because the ball's in the air a lot. They attempt 40 passes a game. That's nothing unusual. When I played, my era was about 25. Now it's 40 passes. You can count them. 40 to 45, sometimes 50. So it's a wide open game, when you get people playing in wide open spaces and they're running fast, you're going to have collisions. So I just think the rules are there to protect the player.